Hey everyone! Ever since I started making tracks, I've had people ask me many questions, like how to design a track, how to pick a theme, or just straight up asking for a tutorial. I did make one almost a year ago, but that is very outdated now. In this video, I will show you the process of planning, terraforming, decorating, and any other tips and tricks that I want to share with you guys. Without further ado, let's get into this. Planning everything out can be one of the most difficult parts of making a track for some people. It's always hard to pick the theme of a track, because there's just so many to choose from. If you're having trouble, try thinking of the games you love, and the levels in them. An example of this could be the Metro Kingdom in Mario Odyssey, or Whomp's Fortress from Super Mario 64. If you're completely stuck on a theme, you can just write a bunch of them down on a wheel spinner, then spin it. Hey, it worked for me. Now, let's talk about how to plan a layout. If you're making a Nitro, remember to include lots of turns, split paths, and differences in height. Some people may think that you wouldn't have to plan the layout of a retro track, but this is not true. To make a retro more exciting to play on, you should add lots of glide ramps, tricks, and hills. Here's an example of a good layout and an example of a bad one. You can see that the good layout is way larger, has smooth turns, and looks overall more exciting to drive on. The one on the right is very small, flat, and has no ramps and 90-degree turns. There are some exceptions for small tracks, like Baby Park, which manages to be a lot of fun while just being an oval. However, I don't recommend making a layout like Baby Park in Minecraft. It will not come out as good. Now that you have the theme and layout, you probably need to think of a name. There are 3 important rules in naming a track. The first and most obvious one is to make the name themed around the track. If it's an underground track, for example, maybe name it something like Hammercap Hollow. That's honestly not that good of a name, but I hope you have an idea of what to name it like. The second rule is to never name a track more than 2 words. There is an exception to this, which is having the first 2 words the exact same, like Cool Cool Icelands. Another exception is alliteration, which brings us to the next rule. Alliteration is when both words start with the same letter. An example of this is Toad's Turnpike, or Blooper Blues. Using alliteration can make track names sound much better. So now, you probably made the theme, layout, and name. What's next? Well, after planning the track, you should make the basic layout in Minecraft. Now, we're going to move on to the next section. One of the most important and painful parts of making a track is terraforming. As much as I dislike terraforming, it is very necessary if you want a good track. If you have Java, you can just use World Edit or World Painter to make the process much easier. Since I make most of my tracks on Bedrock, I don't have access to these mods and I'm forced to terraform block by block. However, I'll still share some tips with you on how to make it look great. One tip is to try to terraform in different ways. Here's a cool way to terraform a wall if you want it to go outwards instead of in. This is actually the type of terraforming I used in my track Blooper Blues. Also, terraforming is not at all limited to stone. You can use whichever material you want, as long as it fits with the track you are making. Here's an example in Starlight Circuit. I used purple concrete to fit in with the theme. Now, let's move on to the second half of this segment, detail. Here's a wall before terraforming in detail, and here's one after. Adding a few natural blocks to your walls can really set the theme of your track. Some of you may ask which blocks you should use to add detail with. Well, I'd recommend any of these blocks on the screen right now, if you want to make a nature theme track. If you want to detail a track that doesn't have a nature theme, I'd recommend using any blocks that fit the palette of the wall. An example of this would be Magma Block for a volcano track, or White Terracotta for a desert track. Also, I'm going to give you one more important tip before this segment comes to an end. Never detail too much, as it ends up looking pretty messy. It is very hard to recommend ways to decorate your tracks with various builds, as there's just so many ways to do it. Instead, I put together a slideshow of some decorations in my tracks. I hope it'll inspire you. hope that gave you an idea of what to build around your track to make it look better. You can do whatever you want in your tracks, and it's always just so much fun to let your imagination expand. Now, let's head to the final section in making a track. One thing that many people make in their worlds is a hub. I personally don't make them anymore, but they can be a great area for people to pick the tracks they want to play. Here is a great hub made by Big Boris 16 on my Discord server. It has many miniature versions of tracks where you can pick which one you want to play. His YouTube channel will be in the description. Something many people ask me is how to pick a song for your track. To be completely honest, I don't have that good taste in track music, but I'll still try to help you figure out a fitting song. A tip is to race on the track to see if it fits. Also, you should pick songs that fit the track, rather than songs you like. For the width of your tracks, I recommend them being 6 to 10 blocks wide. Any more than that is way too big, and any less will just feel cramped. The final tip is for you to make an experimental track before tackling the big ones. It can help you figure out your strengths and weaknesses in building. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Before we end, I want to give thanks to Loaf of Godly Bread for providing me with some of the tips you just saw. Also, if you do make a track from this video, why not post it to YouTube? I'd love to see what you created. But for now, stay tuned for upcoming videos, and have a great day.